So I started this profession in 1991, so 28 years, and I have taught at Weber State full-time for 10 years, and I taught 4 years before that as an adjunct instructor, which is kind of like a part-time teacher. Okay, so this is an x-ray room. It's a simulation x-ray room where we have a phantom. And this phantom has a real skeleton encased in this acrylic. And we will position this phantom. So like we'll be taking an x-ray in this case. If I turn the lights off a little bit so you can see this light. This light shows us where we're going to take the x-ray. And I'm going to take an x-ray of this phantom's hip, right hip. The cassette that we use, which is a digital cassette, goes down in here. We call this the Bucky, and we put that in there. After we've lined them up, we get them where we want to go. Then we come over here, and we put in some parameters based on what body part we're looking at. We put in some parameters so that we can get the correct exposure. Just like taking a picture with your camera or with a professional camera, this controls the shutter speed, this controls the actual amount of x-ray dose that goes to the patient, and then this is actually how fast it accelerates those x-ray photons. So this is our 3D printing lab, and what we do is we get data sets. Usually they're from CT scans, which is like a CAT scan. Sometimes they're called CAT scans. And they're slices of x-rays that are all bunched together, kind of like a loaf of bread. Each slice represents a slice in the bread, and the whole loaf is the data set that we want. In this case, we did a CT scan of someone's hip. And this is the hip joint here, right here. This is the femur, and these are the different structural parts of the bone. And what we do is it's called segmentation. So we cut out this specific area in that data set that we want to look at. In this case, it was the hip. And then we send it to the 3D printers. These 3D printers use a resin. So if you want to look at this, there's actually a resin in this bath right here that what happens is when a laser hits that, it hardens it. So underneath this glass plate is a laser. That laser hardens it, and this right here is the platform. It's the build platform. So this goes down into this resin. It hardens the layer with a laser, and then this comes up, and then it moves back down, and it does layer by layer by layer. So here's an example of a knee joint that was done. And this was the build plate. It was upside down like this, and then it grew out of this resin right here. So this is the part that we'd actually just chisel this off of this build plate. This hip joint, we did this, so the build plate would have been like this. We would have had it on here, like that. We took this off, and these are structural supports that help hold the weight of this object. We call these 3D printed object. If we were to build it without these structural supports, it wouldn't hold it up. So we have to go and we have to clip all these little pieces off to end up getting this right here. So this is the one that's right off the printer, and this is the one that's been cleaned up. Because I loved photography, and I love the sciences, and I love anatomy, and so it kind of combines my love for photography of taking pictures of the human body. So I went on and I became an MRI technologist and a CT technologist as well, because you can do cross-sectional cuts of the human body, and rather than cutting into a cadaver which smells of formaldehyde, gets kind of stinky, now I can actually, with technology, I can cut in to the human body and look at the different parts of the body and look at different diseases. So working as a teacher in this field, I love the students. I love being able to teach students and interact with them. I love being able to see them get excited about this field and this profession, or when the light comes on. Before I became a teacher, when I worked in the clinical arena, I loved working with patients. I enjoyed hearing their stories and caring for them and trying to make a difference in their lives, and that really was important to me.